I can describe this whole semester in this class in one word: eye-opening. The past decade of my life, I had a concrete plan. I was going to study print journalism and minor in business. I was going to get as many internships as possible and finally land one at Newsweek. I would live in Los Angeles or New York, and I would be a magazine writer, ultimately becoming editor of my own publication. Everything I did was structured to that specific plan, and I would not let anything allow me to deviate from it. This class was part of my plan, just like every other class I took this semester, and like every class I've ever had here at USC. All my classes were taken so I could become the most skilled journalist as possible by gaining reporting skills, social media skills, technological skills, and business skills. I walked into IML 104 thinking that I could learn some cool tools such as Final Cut Pro and Photoshop, so that way I could become a more versatile journalist, and so I would have advantages over other journalists who weren't so skilled in digital tools. I came in with the approach of learning the tools for one reason, and I hadn't considered any other use for them. My only goal was to be the best journalist possible. Before this class, I was not so comfortable with being abstract in both my life and schoolwork. I wasn't used to having so many different ways of seeing something, and with there not being one right answer. But throughout this course and throughout the semester, I learned how to open my eyes and open my mind to explore other possibilities. I explored other possibilities in the projects I made for this class, as well as other possibilities for my future. In my Barbara Kruger image, I struggled with finding the right phrase to place on top of the image of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I wanted to come up with the perfect words that would be both ironic and clever and elicit a positive response from my peers and professor. I was thinking too much of what others thought and not so much about how I truly felt, about what came to mind first. After a lot of frustration, I decided to just go with what popped into my mind first, and I ended up really liking my final project. Even though it didn't stray much from the original meaning of the idea in the picture, it was still a deviation from my original insecurities about being abstract. Similarly, in my personal life, I was becoming more open to different ideas. I had the dream internship for any student journalist at The Hollywood Reporter, and for the longest time, I was convincing myself that that's what I wanted to do. I needed to uphold that image for others to see because I had defined myself as a journalist for such a long time to my peers and professors. But me starting to become more comfortable with my thoughts allowed me to realize that I was having a change of heart. It freaked me out and scared me, just like becoming more abstract in my project did. Then came the remix project, and I had some idea of what I wanted to do. Once again, it wasn't crazy, it wasn't insanely abstract. It was actually pretty linear, very much my style. This time I wasn't worried about whether or not I was doing the project the right way. I was going to do it the Cynthia way. So I did, and I was proud of what the finished product came out. I was still a little nervous of how others would see it, but at least I knew that I was happy with it. Around the same time as the remix project, I began mentoring at Dorsey High School, just down the street from USC. I knew that this was something I wanted to do, even though it wasn't in my plan for becoming the journalist extraordinaire I had always envisioned myself as. It was a big deviation, and abstract from my original way of thinking, but I let it happen anyways. I allowed myself to be open and comfortable with what I wanted to do, and not feel restricted by what I felt was expected of me to do. Just like I was nervous of the outcome of my remix project, I was nervous of what the outcome would be of me using a lot of my time to work with these kids. But there's not a doubt that it was more fulfilling than I could have ever imagined. Finally, the interactive one assignment came into action. My project came out the way it did because I let my creativity and thoughts guide me, instead of overanalyzing it and critiquing every idea I had. I was becoming more comfortable with my own way of thinking and putting things together, instead of only thinking about what others would think. I feel like I finally let loose of all of the preconceived notions that I had about what others thought, and I focused on myself and what I thought. I wanted Martin Luther King to be read because I felt that was right for me. I wanted the text to say break free from the norm because it was exactly what I was thinking. I finally let myself go. I embraced the new person I had become throughout the semester. I embraced the idea that journalism wasn't the path I was going to take anymore. And while that freaked me out a lot at first, I became happy with that decision and comfortable with it. I let my heart think for me, and I didn't overanalyze my decision to pursue becoming a high school teacher as a career. It wasn't in the plan at all, but I realized that that's okay, that there doesn't always need to be a plan or a straight and narrow road. This class taught me to be more comfortable with my ideas and to speak up even when there's a chance that not everyone will agree with me. After taking this class, I know that I have grown so much in terms of my creative process and ways of thinking. This class taught me to be abstract and to think in ways that I have never thought of before. I learned that there's not right or wrong answers, that there's different interpretations of a question, statement, or images. And it's a good thing that the world isn't black or white, because without the shades of gray and color, without differences, then there would be no progress in creativity. These differences in thinking are what advance us and allow us to grow as humans, and I feel that this is the most important thing I've learned from being in this class.